tell me if this sounds familiar. You're a woman in your 50s, maybe you're nearing your 60s, and sometimes you get a little bit anxious about the future. Sometimes you look in the mirror and you think, how did I get this way? Sometimes you might not feel particularly desirable, and you might question your relevance or place in the universe. Now, these are all extremely common feelings for women in their 50s and 60s. And that's why I'm extremely fortunate to have with me right now, Chris Ducker, the owner and manager of Curves Morisset. And it is her personal mission in life to help strengthen women inside and out. And today we're going to be running through 5 simple steps to unlock your flexible body and mind and embrace the future. How are you, Chris?
I'm very well. Thank you, James.
Did I just say your last name correctly? I said Ducker.
Yeah, I normally just say Ducker.
Ducker. All right. Rock and roll. Chris Ducker. So I'm sure that you work with a lot of women at Curves. And if we are going to help people unlock their flexible body and mind, what's a great place to start?
Well, the first place I start is water.
Water.
Thing to do, yeah.
So simple. You reminded me I should probably pour myself some water right now.
Good job.
So specifically, what are we talking about here? What do women do wrong when it comes to water?
Well, often they forget to have water completely. And
right.
So I've got a couple of tips for people if they'd like.
A couple of tips for people. So one, they're just not drinking enough water, so they need to get hydrated.
Yes, yes. Being hydrated just means that your whole body's going to function better.
And what are they typically drinking if they're not drinking water?
Oh, they're drinking lots of cups of tea. They're drinking lots of coffee, and sometimes they're even doing juice or Coke. And
the juice thing is a funny one too, isn't it? Because it seems so healthy to go to a juice bar and spend $6 on a giant cup of juice. But from what I hear, it's not as healthy as it should be.
No, sadly, it's full of sugar and generally not a lot of fiber or anything else.
Yeah, no fiber to offset the sugar. So it's easy to say, get hydrated and drink some more water. But what's something tactical that women can do to actually start drinking a bit more water?
Well, an easy way to do that is just to have one water with every glass of water with coffee or tea.
So this is like when you hit the town, I've been told, drink 1 glass of water with every alcoholic beverage or beer. Alcoholic beverage or beer, because beer is not alcoholic. With every alcoholic beverage. So you're saying do that throughout the day. So if you're having a cup of tea, have a glass of water too.
Yeah, absolutely. So have your water while you're waiting for the jug to boil.
Have a glass of water while you're waiting for your jug to boil. Or if you feel like going to the shop to get a cup of coffee, have a glass of water before you leave. That sort of thing. And I'm sure that's also applicable at night when you're having that cheeky glass of wine.
Absolutely.
So how much water is a good amount of water?
Well, that's a very good question. A lot of people think you've got to drink 2 litres every day, but everyone's different, obviously. So my rule of thumb is to drink 30 mils for every kilo of body weight.
30 mils for every kilo of body weight. Okay, so I'm doing the maths for me right now. Okay, I can see what I'm doing. That's very analytical. What about something like this? Can I just keep something like this with me?
That would be a great start.
Grab a glass of water and keep that with me. So basically, I was just trying to. So 30 mils. How many mils are in a liter? 1,000?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So if I'm 100 kilos, which I'm not, thank goodness, I would be drinking 3 liters. So I'm not. I'm less than that. So I should probably be drinking.
And for some people, they don't need to drink 2 liters if they're only small.
If they're only small. Excellent. All right. So number 1, get hydrated. What's our second step?
Well, we want to get moving. So that's really important.
Get moving.
Yeah, so many people are sedentary. They're either in sedentary jobs or they're sitting in at the sewing machine doing their patchwork, quilting. So just getting moving. So
this is another one of those things that's easier said than done. We want to inject more movement into our life. How can we do that?
Well, there's a couple of simple ways you can do it. We have to go to the toilet often. So
Especially if we're drinking all that water.
yeah, absolutely. So my recommendation is to do 5 squats every time you go to the loo.
Right, that's one way to get moving.
Yeah, for sure.
So the idea here, I guess, is that we're not thinking about moving. We're thinking that when we go to the toilet, we should probably be doing some squats.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other trigger moments like that we can inject a little bit more movement into our lifestyles?
So a really great way another trigger is to, every time you get in the car, when you put your hands on the wheel of that car, do 5 pelvic floor pumps.
5 pelvic floor pumps when we hop in the car. I know that my wife, when she, after she's had a shower, she does something with the towel.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Kind of like disco dancing. So what we're really talking about is we're talking about trigger moments. So not necessarily, I mean, like the bigger thing here is to inject movement into your life, but it's more about identifying those moments when we can inject a bit more movement. So what's a simple action that we can take?
All we need to do is write down 5 trigger moments.
And then we know what we need to do when we need to do it. So when you put your hands on the steering wheel, when you get up off the toilet, when you're drying yourself after the shower, these are everyday trigger moments. All right, get hydrated, get moving. What's number 3?
Well, we want to start to be a little bit more flexible. So we want people to practice getting off the floor.
Practice getting off the floor. I don't get it. Explain to me, Chris. Why would we practice? I can understand getting onto the floor in a nightclub or a disco, but what do you mean getting off the floor?
Well, now and then people are going to fall. It's just a matter of course, and you never know when that's going to happen. So if you do fall on the floor, do you know if you can get up or not? So we want people to practice.
And it's true. When you're little, you fall over. When you're older, you have a fall. It's a bit more significant. So as an action here, practice getting off the floor. Tell me more. Break it down into detail.
Well, what I'd like people to encourage is when they get on the floor in the lounge room, be near a chair. So you've got some sort of prop to help you get up. If that's a real struggle, then you need to practice more and practice without using a prop as well.
Yeah, right. So go to the living room, preferably somewhere carpeted, I'd imagine, after you've done the vacuuming or after someone's done the vacuuming, and practice getting up. So I'm guessing then it would be a good thing if you could do it without hands, but most people will need a hand or leg. Is there some way to evaluate how good you are at getting off the floor?
Yeah, absolutely. So the ultimate is being able to get off the floor without using your hands at all. So that should be your ultimate goal. So initially it might be using your knee and a hand and then working your way up that chair. But as you get practiced with it, eventually you should be able to get off the floor, no matter how old you are, without using any prop, including your hands.
So I think that this is a really important step. We've talked about getting hydrated, getting movement. Now we're talking about getting practice, getting off the floor. And if you're listening to this or watching this, set aside time to do that right now, sometime in the next 24 to 48 hours, because that sounds like something that every woman in their 50s or 60s needs to do, and every man, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Do it in the ad breaks.
Do it in the ad breaks. There's another trigger moment. All right, so get hydrated, get moving, get practice. What's number 4?
Well, we want to be straight. So I want people to think about their posture, and there's a really simple step you can do. And again, I do the trigger around the toilet, is to realign your posture against the wall.
So you're a straight shooter, Chris. We're talking about getting straight. We're talking about going to the toilet. So, sorry, there was a connect there that I missed, where in the bathroom, the trigger moment is something that's going, what's just happened in the bathroom. And now we want to align our posture. How do we align our posture in the toilet? Is it how we sit? How do we do that?
So very quickly, after you've done your squats, you're going to stand with your back against the door with your heels your back, your buttocks,
Yes.
and the backs of your hands. So when you put your backs of your hands against the ball, your shoulders are going to come back and down. And that's where your back should be. And then walk away.
And then walk away because you've done your business and you're feeling good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see immediately how that would align your posture. Buttocks to the wall, shoulders to the wall, heels to the wall, backs of your palms to the wall, and just align your posture. And I'm guessing if there's a mirror in the room as well too, chances are you could probably do it on the other side of the mirror and you could see how straight your shoulders are as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because most women will have one shoulder higher than the other because that's where they carry the handbag.
It's where they carry the handbag, or once upon a time they may have carried a little one as well too.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's great. What's number 5? So we're talking about getting straight. What's number 5?
Well, number 5 is just getting perspective back. We get so caught up in our lives and we forget to notice the little things.
So how can we get perspective back?
Well, I like to do a meditative walk.
Uh-huh.
Noticing every single thing on that walk. So leave your phone behind, just grab your key in your hand and notice everything on the walk. The letterbox is red, the fence has got palings and it's got nails hanging out. There might be grass with a bit of weed and a yellow flower on top, but notice everything on your walk.
Yeah, right. So leave it to the technology at home. Don't forget your key. That was a good piece of advice there. And then just notice the little things. Now, once again, that's something easy to say, I'll do that, but then not necessarily do. What's an action that we can take to make sure that we do something like this more often?
Well, my tip is to write yourself a Post-it note and have it on your computer, have it on your fridge, have it on your toilet wall.
Have it on your toilet wall.
Have it on your mirror. So write a few Post-it notes around and just practice, and it only needs to be 5-10 minutes. It doesn't need to be a long time.
So what do we write on the Post-it note? Something like, time for a walk, or
take delight in the little things.
Take delight in the little things. Take delight in the little things. And I love that because if we're feeling overwhelmed, which we often do, we generally get overwhelmed by all the little things. But if suddenly we're taking delight in the little things, it reframes the scenario, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yep.
And not just that, if you've got the note, take delight in the little things, it's a reminder to take that walk. And as you take that walk, pay attention to the little things, to the detail.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's 5 different lessons. Get hydrated. And if you want to get hydrated, embrace a 1-for-1 rule, a 1-for-1 routine. Yep. Number 2, get moving. Write down trigger moments. Number 3, get practice getting off the floor. Set aside time now. Do it in the ad breaks of the next television show that you're watching. Get straight. Align your posture after you've been to the loo. Number 5, get perspective. Write a Post-it note to remind you to go on those meditative walks. Any final words, Chris, for the women out there that are looking to unlock their flexible body, their flexible mind, and embrace their future you? Because sometimes we're not always happy with the current me, the current you.
Yeah, we want to visualize the future you in 5 years' time.
So okay, let's take a step back here. Visualize the future you. So we know where we're at now, but you're suggesting maybe have a think about what we want to be in 5 years. Yeah,
absolutely. We want to know where you want to be, who you want to be with, and what you want to look like.
So this is one final bonus tip. Visualize the future you. In 5 years, where do you want to be? Who do you want to be with, and what do you want to be doing? Give me an example, Chris.
Well, a great one is, I'm coming to the part in my life where I'm having grandchildren, and I want to be able to get in the pool with those grandkids when they start to swim, and I want to toss them around and play ball with them and do all the fun stuff.
That's terrific. So if we can begin to visualize the future you, we don't get so caught up in some of the ways that we might not be happy, the discontent with our current selves. We can also start to take the first steps to embracing that future. I know that my parents, when I began to have kids, one of the first things that they wanted to do is that they wanted to be able to take the kids on holidays. And you can't take your grandkids on holidays if, for example, you struggle to get up if you'd fallen on the floor.
That's right. And you can't get on the floor and play Lego with them.
Yeah, you can't get on the floor and Lego with them if you can't get up. So that's important. Take a moment to embrace the future you. Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? So think about the where. Do you want to be at Disneyland? Do you want to be at the pool? Do you want to be playing Lego? Who do you want to be spending time with? Is it your beloved partner in life? Is it your grandkids? Is it your new young hot lover? Where do you want to be? What do you want to be doing? What do you want to be doing? At Disneyland playing Lego? I'm not going to go there with the young hot lover. Don't care what's in your imagination right now. Imagine the future you. Where, who, what? This has been a genuine pleasure, Chris, and a whole lot of fun. Thanks for your insights.
Thanks, James. You're welcome.